And welcome back to episode 120 of the Hit the Showers podcast, presented to you by the Foolproof Entertainment Network. As always, I'm your host, Clifford Jordan Jennings, here with my point man and co-host, Malcolm, still on the board. Still on the
Never.
board in the 24th round, King.
I'm always a first round pick. How you feeling,
Eh,
Cliff?
I'm alright. How you feeling?
And I'm just glad it's the weekend.
Listen, for the quick 5 minutes that it is,
Right. I'll take whatever I can get.
you know. But we got action. We got action, showerhead. So we decided to hop on and give it to you.
Yeah.
Um, of course, we gonna have to start with this draft, right? Um, I'm sure we'll get into our team specific. But right now, I just want to point out that what is this? I can't remember what the stat was. What was it? The first it's the first time a quarterback hadn't been drafted in the top 10 in so many years.
Yeah.
I can't
Yep.
remember the stat though.
Right.
I was trying to come back up with it off the fly and it didn't come to me. But I did think that was odd. It seemed like it was really all defense, offensive line, and then you got a couple wide receivers in Drake London and Garrett Wilson. Another thing that I noticed throughout the draft is that everybody's going defensive line heavy.
Uh-huh. Yeah. A
And I
lot.
asked myself, is that the evolution of the game?
Um Edge rusher.
Edge rush, defensive tackle, and it's like, don't get me wrong, I understand if something is in need, like if it's a high commodity, you're gonna see people draft for it. But I would say that the defensive line has at least looked stacked for a lot of teams. There aren't
Right.
few teams that have nothing on the defensive line. So for everybody to go all heavy on drafting more of it, that's the only place my mind goes. Because, my biggest criticism on the game nowadays is there's no core. We have no core. There's no middle defense. There's no dominant middle linebackers anymore. There's no dominant safeties, like real dominant safeties. Like your Palomalus and your Lynches, and like we don't have those anymore. Your Ed Reeds.
You don't. You don't. Bob Sanders, Troy Polamalu's. To answer your question, Cliff, I feel like the league is trying to get back to that era of the Julius Peppers, the Richard Seymours, the Jason Taylors. There's a lot of elite uh, defensive players, especially D linemen.
But I feel
I
like
feel
even in
like
those
coming up.
eras, you at least had linebackers roaming around.
You did,
You
you
had your
did,
Romanowskis and like it was the end of that era, like, where it was Junior Seau and all them back in the day. You had to have an elite middle linebacker, your Erlachers, you know what I'm saying? Your
Ray Lewis.
AJ
Yeah,
Hawks. And now there are none. And in the era that you were naming, I feel like that was the last class
I
of.
agree.
And I
I
don't know I
agree.
don't know what that is, right? Because don't get me wrong, we are definitely pass heavy now in this era of football. We don't run anywhere as near as much as we used to run back in the day. So, with that being said, you are going to target your coverage safeties and of course your cornerbacks, and that's what you're seeing now. With your Ahmad Gardners and all them getting drafted. That's exactly what you're seeing. Are elite safeties, your Trayvon Diggs, or corners, I mean.
Right.
But you don't see the hitters because we need people in coverage. When you got offenses that are putting a spread out there and you got 4 wide receivers going downfield, we can't afford to have hitters covering these receivers.
Right. Right.
And now I guess we are getting to the point of having to overload the wide receiver spot in general. And when you overload that wide receiver spot, of course, you have to have enough DBs to cover that. But at the same time, that doesn't change the fact that everybody looks weak over the middle now.
Right. I agree.
The entire league.
It does. It's the defense isn't the same. I mean, I know naturally the game changes, the rules change, the players, coaches, philosophies, but it is like a different time period. Of like you said, like what's in demand. You know what I mean? Like the demand is different.
It's just weird.
It is weird. Like I don't know. Like you said, I could think of a million players, Cliff, off of each team on offense and defense where you're like, man, there's like 20 different good safeties or whatever, or different linebacker. Like now it's like you're struggling to find names at some of these positions where historically you haven't.
And then Lord forbid you're an outside linebacker, right? That you just turned your position now is turning
edge
into
rusher.
Not even, right? Because you're either an outside linebacker that they're putting up on that line, or you're an outside linebacker that steps back and takes that slot receiver. You eliminated me playing that position for the run. Now it's either I'm running for the quarterback or I'm covering a receiver or a tight end.
Right.
And I think that's also why you see an increase in tight end play now, because you just weaken the middle of the field.
Mm-hmm.
So what better plan than to run your biggest receiver down the middle for a slant and an easy 7 to 10 yards. Nobody's big enough over the middle to hurt them.
Right.
Back in the day, it was scary to go over the middle because you knew somebody was lurking and they were going to rip your helmet off. But now there's nobody around like that. It's almost like a hockey game with no enforcer.
Mm-hmm. It's different. It's soft, like you said. It's everybody's friends. There's not a whole lot of rivalry,
and we can be friends. I mean, we can be friends, and I'm still gonna hit you.
Right.
I'm still gonna hit you as hard as I possibly can, friends or not. But
you remember certain players, you just knew when them teams played, something was finna happen.
Right.
Like, remember, I used to laugh every time Hines Ward and your boy Rod Woodson. Them two used to go at it when Rod Woodson was on the Ravens towards the end. Like just that grit, like you don't always see that grit from these guys, It's different, man. It's different.
I mean, I think you see it. I think it's just less physical, more finesse.
Right, I agree. I think you just answered your own question on why it's so different today. I think you just answered. It's a game of finesse, Cliff, and not physicality as much. Right. That's exactly what it is.
That's why everybody's on Aaron Donald's dick, right? Because he's just brute strength with the speed to get there. And it's like, ooh, we don't see anything like that. Well, I mean, if you watched football 10 years ago, you did.
Right. That always was. That was always.
Guys like him. I won't say guys like him, right? Because he is special.
He is.
Regardless. But you saw his archetype a lot more back in the day. Now it's not so much.
Man, it's rare. That's why he stands out. Like you said, his type of play style or his position is not as common today as it used to be. So when you see it, you're like, yeah, that guy stands out. He's a beast.
So how long do we go? Does this trend go before we see another head hunting middle linebacker that comes out there and you're like, oh, okay, we're back to that?
I like Micah Parsons
I do like
a
Micah
lot.
Parsons.
I like him a lot, man. I think he's a good start to trying to bring, if we're going to try to bring that era back. I also like, not to jump the gun, and I hate that I don't have his name. I'm sure you'll probably know it. My Eagles drafted a linebacker.
N'Kobe Dean.
Yep.
From
And
Georgia.
I've seen some of his highlights. That's right. And I've seen Minka, one of the analysts, Minka or something. She had said to, like, man, he's definitely slipping in the draft. Whoever gets him is going to be a steal. And of course, not knowing too much, but seeing the highlight tape, I was like, well, I hope the Eagles get him. You know, but their core is trash.
Right.
So I said that they drafted him. I said, well, my prayers have been answered. You're trying to build that core. That core is so important, like you say, Cliff. It's the point of making the core in defense as important as offense. It is.
I think the core in any, not even, I mean, you said it, defense and offense, but I mean in anything. In anything you do, your body, you have to make sure your core is the strongest. Anything that you do,
that's facts.
You have to have a sturdy core.
That's
and
actually
for crazy. NFL to just remove it like that, it's like,
right.
Well, damn. Well, I understand why, right? Because it's the same reason that they started calling all the fouls in the NBA, because this generation gets geeked off of points.
They do.
High scoring games. If a game's 7-14, that's unacceptable. When back in our day, we enjoyed those 7-14 games because that meant the defense was out there.
A tough battle.
But the NFL might have removed that core to increase the offensive production so you get higher scoring games and ultimately quarterbacks that get to throw for more yards. That's how you get a Derek Carr that almost cracks 5,000 yards rushing or passing, but you don't get anywhere in the season.
No, that's true. I definitely agree with you. Definitely agree with you on that.
Enough of opinion. Let's at least give y'all a few stats. So I'll run down the top 10 and a couple honorable mentions at the quarterback position. So Jacksonville Jaguars at 10 take edge rush out of Georgia. Trayvon Walker, that's a great pick. Detroit Lions fitting take Aiden Hutchinson, who's another edge rush from that team up north. Houston Texans at 3 take Derek Stingley Jr., cornerback out of LSU.
Nice pick.
That is definitely a nice pick. I don't know how good of a pick it is for the Texans, though. I mean, don't get me wrong. They still need to defend, of course, even though they're a shitty team. I'm just saying that piece doesn't so much fit in a puzzle in Texas. That would have been a nice pick for anybody.
Right.
Then at the 4, New York Jets got Ahmad Sauce Gardner out of Cincinnati. I honestly thought that he was the best cornerback coming out of the draft this year. That's a good pickup for the Jets, but I feel like once again it's the same situation as the Texans, where it's like that doesn't fit anywhere for you because you're not a few pieces away from being a contender.
Right. Hopefully he don't get the Darrelle Revis treatment and be a great cornerback on the team that just can't help them win.
Right. No, I think you just summed it up. I think that's what you end up seeing him as. The question is, how long does he stay?
His career could have been a little bit more illustrious, I think, had he obviously been able to compete for a title or a championship.
Revis might be one of my top corners.
Hey, remember
corners in history.
Remember that Revis Island? That shit was no joke.
You couldn't throw. You couldn't do anything when he was out there.
I'm sorry. I didn't even mean to get back on Revis, but shouts out to him as honorable mention just for being like you said.
That was a good. I think that's a good comparison. I think that you might end up seeing that from him if the Jets don't do too much to turn around.
And don't get me wrong, Cliff, because to play devil's advocate, I mean, who would want to see all the stars, so to speak, on one team, right? That wouldn't make it fun, to have one team full of all the greatest players in the league or whatever.
No. Nobody wants that. Nobody wants that.
That's I do agree with you, though, that when you get drafted to a team like that, You may want to try to learn your craft, get great, and leave. Unless they build or turn things around. If they build or turn things around. That's
I mean,
different.
let's just look in New York, right? There's a reason that between them and the Giants, they had what, 4 total picks in the first 10.
The Giants.
Giants and the Jets both had 4 picks in the top 10. Not both had 4. I'm saying both had 2 equaling 4.
Okay. I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a reason for that. There's a reason, and I'm not trying to shit on New York, right? But even when you look at the Knicks, that's why everybody was so hype about Brooklyn and so let down when they didn't make it.
Right.
But over history, New York has not been a winning culture since who? What's the name he always joke with Callie about? Joe Namath, not Joe Namath. What's the dude's name? You know who I'm talking about?
Not Chad Pennington.
Dude that won the Super Bowl against the Colts.
There's Vinny Testaverde, Chad Pennington.
I can't think of his name.
He won against the Colts for the Jets.
Mm-hmm.
Back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what was Namath, wasn't it?
Was it Namath? It might have been Joe Namath.
Yeah, Joe Namath. Yeah, that's him. Yeah, that's him. I
don't know why that name just wasn't sounding right to me today.
That man's 78 years old. Yeah, he played 13 seasons, mostly with the Jets. Yeah, that's him.
Yeah, that's exactly who that is. But regardless, I'm saying like they just don't have a winning culture in New York.
Oh, they don't.
I'm not saying they could. I guess you kind of got to give it to the Giants on the Eli Manning train because he got 2 out of there.
Man, yeah, but I always.
But when you think about that though, Eli Manning is the top of that. Eli Manning is the top of that winning culture.
What about Michael Strahan?
You don't think of Michael Strahan when you think of. I think of Eli Manning when I think of the Giants championship.
Hell no,
I think of what's his name? What's his name? Victor Cruz. I think of. I don't think of Michael Strahan. Doesn't immediately come to mind.
That's crazy. That was his team basically. He was the leader and the heart of the team.
I mean, I don't doubt that because we know Eli wasn't.
Right.
But
I always think of him when it comes to the Giants, but that's just me.
Yeah, no. I mean, I think of him when it comes to the Giants, but when it comes to the Giants and Super Bowls, I think of Eli.
Fuck, that's probably because he's Peyton's little brother. If he wasn't Peyton's little brother, we probably wouldn't say his name too much.
That could be the case. That could definitely be the case. But at 5, New York Giants take Kayvon Thibodeau out of Oregon, edge rush. Another edge rush. Then at 6, Carolina Panthers get Akim Ekwonu out of NC State, offensive tackle. New York Giants get at 7, Evan Neal, offensive tackle out of Alabama. Atlanta Falcons get Drake London, wide receiver out of USC. Seattle Seahawks get Charles Cross, offensive tackle out of Mississippi State. New York Jets get Garrett Wilson, wide receiver out of OSU. And then some honorable mentions, of course, your boy Kenny Pickett goes to the Steelers. That was a shock to me.
That one didn't shock me. I you know what? Because I was actually talking to my dad about that last week or so, since he's a Steelers fan, and I was telling him, I said I could see Kenny Pickett staying in Pittsburgh somehow, especially after the Haskins situation.
But remember, we had that conversation. We had that conversation where I questioned his ability coming into the NFL. You know,
right.
Coming out of Pitt, coming out of a division that was not the toughest division. How standout are you really?
Right.
I get the same vibe from him that I get from Zach Wilson coming out of
From
Brigham Young. It's like my G. You're not in a division that's shit like that. Like, so the NFL is gonna be a culture shock for you because it's not like you were in the SEC.
right.
You weren't playing against high caliber talent all throughout your season. And
No.
you have small hands to the point that you got to wear receiver gloves when you throw.
Damn.
That's not a good thing.
It's not, but
I
maybe he
just don't.
shines through.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I wouldn't have thought that you would have taken that risk.
After after seeing Mac Jones kind of shine in the New England system and him take us by storm, I mean, I feel like anything's possible. Because
But
I
he
mean, I know
also
at least
came from
I slept on that.
Alabama.
No, I agree. No, for sure. And he had Nick Saban. Don't get me
Right.
wrong. But I mean, I just we'll see how year 2 is for Mac Jones. But I'm just saying, he just surprised me. Is all like in his first year.
I mean, I think he surprised a bit of everybody, to be honest. But I think I said the same thing about Brigham Young. You're coming out of a basketball school.
Right.
You're coming out of a basketball school. You can't just come from a team like that into the NFL and just automatically start taking over. You don't see that.
Right.
Even your boy Justin Herbert came from Oregon.
Yeah.
He had comp. He played comp. But you're at Pitt. I don't buy it. I think that ends up being a bust. I mean, I don't want to call it a bust because I don't think he'll be an awful quarterback, but I definitely don't think he's going to be what everybody says he is. You want to know who I think is going to have the best season this year? I know we did it last year too. We gave our opinions. My second honorable mention. At pick 74, Atlanta Falcons get Desmond Ridder out of Cincinnati. I'm telling you, that man is going to be something. And it's going to be sooner than later. I'm going to tell you why. Because right now, it's you and Mariota.
Right.
Now, Mariota, we know he's a hothead. Play style wise. What I mean is he'll put himself in dangerous positions for yards, for a touchdown. And he's never had the best health track record. So you may end up having to take over that team a lot sooner than expected. Because, let's be honest, what do you think Mariota's going to do in his first couple games in Atlanta?
Well, not even just that. Can Mariota stay healthy?
That's what I'm saying. And he has a lot to prove. He has a lot to prove to everyone. So I can see him trying to overdo it in the first couple games and get hurt. Or, I don't want to wish bad or speak anything into existence. But out of everybody, I can definitely see Mariota putting himself in a position where it's like, damn, probably shouldn't have done that. Probably should have slid when you took that run. He did it with the Raiders, and you only played a few downs throughout the season.
Right.
And you were making runs that were like, all right, Mariota, you're not a running back. You lowering your shoulder and shit. Like, nigga, you're a quarterback. So those are bad habits, and I don't think he's played enough to get those bad habits out of his system. That might end up being a bad thing when he gets to Atlanta.
Could be. May not play out to his favor.
And we know that they got Kyle Pitts.
They do.
They just got Drake London.
Drake London, that was a good.
And then they got a tight end. Didn't they get a tight end, I believe? Not a tight end. What am I thinking? Nope, I think I'm thinking incorrectly. But regardless, Drake London and Kyle Pitts are two great targets to have.
I agree. Yeah, I mean, Hawks are definitely in the Falcons are definitely in a rebuilding stage, and I think that that's a good start with Mariota and Ridder.
They need a lot more pieces.
They still need more pieces for sure, but I think their mindset is in
In the
a
right
good
spot.
direction.
Right, right,
Good
right.
spot. Yeah.
I think they definitely need a few more defensive pieces for sure. Um, and then last one, Malik Willis goes 86 at 86 to the Tennessee Titans.
Who was that?
Malik Willis, quarterback
I
out of Liberty.
I seen that. So one of my cousins, uh, the ones who made you and Mike those shirts, Nico, the Do Fools Agree shirts back in the day. Nico, my cousin
Oh
Nico, who
yeah,
made the shirts for us. He's a big Steelers fan, and I seen him. You know, he be putting his takes on Facebook. I be telling him he need to hop on the show. But anyways, he was down in Willis. What's his name? Malik.
Malik Willis. Yeah.
He was down to him a lot. Talk about this and that. And I just want. What's your thoughts? What do you think on that?
I think it's a similar situation with the Kenny Pickett, right? Like you don't come from a school that plays constant comp, but at the same time, you have the X factor that Kenny doesn't. You're a dual threat quarterback that has I'd say an above average arm for a dual threat quarterback. Like usually threat quarterbacks don't throw as well as they run. I think he is balanced on both ends.
So why would anyone pick Kenny Pickett before him?
Because Kenny Pickett on paper looks better. Kenny Pickett statistically looks better. Stats, all that look a little better than Malik. Basically, they're saying that Kenny Pickett is a little more polished, where Malik Willis is going to take some sculpting. Which is ultimately good that he comes in behind Tannehill.
Yeah. I mean, and
I don't mean to cut you off. I just want to say that Tannehill is not the worst quarterback to learn from.
He's not.
He just may not be. He may be teaching to somebody that has the ability, a little bit more of the ability to get it done. You know what I'm saying? Or what I'm trying to say?
Right. I can see that. What about Steve? There's a Matt Corral.
Matt Corral, yeah. Ole Miss, 94 goes to the Panthers.
Carolina, ESPN.com says.
Yeah, so I said the Panthers.
I thought you said Ole Miss.
He came from Ole Miss. The college he went to was the Ole Miss.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
To the Panthers.
For some reason, I'm thinking in parentheses on the article, they're saying this is the college he came from. That makes more sense. Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm with you. Okay,
yeah,
came from Ole Miss. He was an Ole Miss quarterback.
He got drafted to the Panthers, which is bad for
Sam Darnold.
None other than Sam Darnold, bad for Baker Mayfield.
So
I haven't heard. That was the team that was supposed to be the number one team on his destination list. Like the number one team that was interested in looking at acquiring Baker was the Carolina Panthers. But now that they got that pick from the Patriots to move up in the draft, and they got Matt Corral, that kind of deads that relationship, right? Like, why would you need Baker now? You got Sam Darnold and the new cat, and you're thinking about picking up Baker too. What teams do that? What teams have 3 quarterbacks in that bracket?
Right.
Maybe all 3 of them are backup quarterbacks. We don't know, but they're still good enough quarterbacks that you wouldn't have 3 of them all on the same roster. So I don't think Panthers are any longer interested in Baker Mayfield, which essentially only leaves 2 destinations for him to land at, and that's either Seattle or Texas.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely, looking here at the article, a lot of, not a lot, but a few people that slipped that they just did not see slipping, which they feel like might have been some potential steals in the draft.
Still out there, or are you saying just in general where they landed was
Just
later
where
than
they
you?
landed,
Right.
like back to the Kobe Dean. I'm seeing that he went round 3, number 84 to my Eagles. I guess he was flagged. Teams had flagged him due to his medical reports. So there was some concern about his ability to play this year. But Philly took a chance on him, so hopefully things work out. But I guess he should have went a lot higher, and he slipped down to round 3.
I mean, especially if you flagged for some medical, I don't know.
Right.
I probably would have waited even longer.
Well, do you remember when Adrian Peterson came out in the draft after he just got repaired on a broken neck or something? Like they had, like I think it was kind of somewhat similar, meaning like I think he had that neck injury,
Yeah.
got surgery. They hadn't seen him like play or anything yet. In a while, they took a risk on him and still, what I'm saying. The whole point is, I mean, yeah, you just never know though. You might be all right, you might not.
You are absolutely correct. I mean, that's essentially what that is. It's a risk.
Because everybody had been nervous on getting AD at the time, just because, like we said, the whole injury coming out with the neck or something like that turned out to be one of the goats. So yeah, I mean, good luck to him.
Yeah, I
This
mean,
this draft was kind of weak, though. I think that's why
I don't
some
know
of these
if I
people.
would call it weak. I would call it necessary.
Right,
I think that was strategically done, right? Because this was a draft class that was not a shiny thing. Usually when you see a draft class, there are at least 5 players that are like mind-blowingly good standouts.
right,
This draft was more like a tool than a shiny thing.
right,
Where you need it, you're gonna need it, but it's not that. It's not your what draft class was that? I mean, even last year, you even look at last year.
mm-hmm.
Last year's draft class was a shiny thing. It was an opportunity for people to get the items they wanted on the grocery list. This year was
Right. That's a good
the
comparison.
opportunity for people to get the things they needed. So I think it ended up looking boring because people were getting, like I said, the things they had to address on their roster. And a lot of it came down to offensive line, especially when we saw how much some of the better quarterbacks were being rushed or hit in the backfield.
Yeah, yeah. I
Unacceptable.
mean, yeah, like you said, it was definitely needed. Teams needed some of these younger players to come in and bring some freshness or newness to the team. But I didn't feel like it was as strong, like you said, as certain other years, like last year.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I definitely agree there. Um, what about Lamar Jackson? I want to get into that. Did you see that when the Ravens selected Notre Dame safety Kyle Hamilton, Lamar Jackson tweeted WTF?
No,
Uh huh.
they wanted him to get a wide receiver, obviously.
Of course, of course. Why wouldn't he? And we talked
Right,
about this off podcast. I don't understand why the Ravens think he's enough. Last year, Marquise Brown was your primetime wide receiver, and you just traded him away. What are you going to get him in return? You needed to get another wide receiver last year when you had Marquise Brown.
right,
So instead of reaching your quota of 2 prime wide receivers, you've now subtracted the one that you had and you're at 0.
right.
And remember, I said offline, I think that we're getting to the point that you start to ask yourself, how long do you see Lamar Jackson in Baltimore? Because essentially, this is a worse Aaron Rodgers situation.
How so?
Because Aaron Rodgers had been crying for how long? Ever since he really won that Super Bowl in 2010, saying he needed, additional pieces on the wide receivers, tight ends. He needed more targets to hit, is basically what he was saying. Lamar's been
Right.
saying the same thing as well. The only difference, the reason why I say worse, is because Lamar Jackson is also the leading rusher on the team in the past 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
So wait a minute. You want me to be quarterback to a team with no wide receivers and be your running back as well, but you're not willing to get me anything?
Mm.
I'm almost MVP Lamar Jackson, but you're not willing to get me anything to get us over the hump? I get hurt every year, but I still am expected to come back in and lead the team in rushing?
I mean, or he could end up staying like Russell Wilson did until
No, I don't think you see that.
people move him
I don't think
himself.
you see
Yeah, I
that. The
mean,
only reason why I say that is because Russell Wilson didn't get hurt every year. Russell Wilson took his good fair share of injuries, but every year he did not have a multiple game injury where it was like, damn.
no, but the past couple of years since the offensive line's been terrible, he's been hurt every
He
year.
has been hurt. The past 2 years he has been out.
Mm-hmm.
But what about in his prime? Did that happen then?
No, not that I can remember
Right.
like that.
And right now I would say Lamar's in his prime.
But actually, it had to have happened then because wasn't he part of that stat that he was
He was sacked the most, but that doesn't mean he was injured the most.
Oh, right. Duh.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, doesn't mean he was injured. That just stopped last year with Joe Burrows.
That's true.
Joe Burrows just beat his record in most sacks last year. Other than that, the past 3 years went to Russell Wilson.
That's right. Injuries
correctly.
Injuries is a different ball game.
So what I'm saying is, if I know I'm Lamar Jackson caliber, but I also know you're expecting me to be the running back, and you're not willing to get me the things that I'm asking for at wide receiver, it starts to look like this isn't the place for me. And I think this is a seed being planted right here. Because let's be honest, out of franchise history, Lamar Jackson is currently third in rushing. Only behind Jamal Lewis and Ray Rice.
Jamal Lewis, boy. Yeah.
So Jamal Lewis, Ray Rice, then a quarterback. I don't know. I mean, that's why I would like to have had less on here, because he's going to say Lamar's not going nowhere. And that is the first thought that comes to mind. But then when you really think about it, when you really start stripping this shit down, that doesn't sound like a healthy situation. That doesn't sound like a healthy relationship. And clearly you don't have as much pull in your front office as you thought you did either, Deshaun Watson. Because if you did, you would at least be able to get a few targets, a few weapons at that wide receiver slot. But instead, they use all their draft picks on defense. Almost like they were saying something. Like, you're good enough to get it done yourself, right?
And maybe that came with the money. Maybe the money they paid him, that extension they gave him. Because didn't he get an extension not too long ago or something?
I believe so.
Maybe that's where maybe that's where there's miscommunication. Oh, well, you signed the dotted line to get this extension and get this bag. So here's the responsibility. Here's our expectation.
That didn't mean anything, because it's not like it's not like that contract said, put the team on your back, right? I'm signing this contract with the understanding that we both have a mutual understanding that we both want to win. I wouldn't play for you if I knew that you didn't want to win. So if you want to win and I'm a winner, listen to me when I say I need a target. Can't get it done without targets.
Well, they must not value his thought and his
opinions. Right. Remember, I said Lamar didn't have the best arm talent anyway. Now, he did impress me a bit throughout the past season.
Right.
He was making passes that I was impressed with. I will say that. But he's not the best arm talent as is. So why would you not put receivers out there that can make up for it?
Right.
I feel like that's a ball drop on the Ravens office, but go ahead.
No, I agree. I mean, that's a little indifferent, but there's still time too, so it's kind of hard to tell. Like they still could maybe get a
Ooh,
steal or
you are right. You are right, but I
pick up
doubt it
some.
because right now, if I'm Lamar Jackson, what I'm thinking in my head is I'm not that important to you. I'm not that important to you because you would wait. You would procrastinate getting me a weapon, but you would cover your entire defense. So clearly, I'm not priority. Us getting the offense together isn't priority because you think right now the defense is more important. And they did need pieces on defense, but using
Right.
every pick on defense, that's kind of ignorant. If I'm Lamar, I'm thinking you sending me like you trying to fuck with me, huh? That was a shot at me, wasn't it?
Right.
Every piece on defense, and you just traded away our best wide receiver. I would be tweeting what the fuck too. Only I'd have had to put a name on it. Who's the GM? What the fuck? At whoever you is.
I'd have sent the text message.
God damn. I mean that. I don't know. I think if he's smart, he starts to look at other options.
Well, bring them on into Vegas then, I guess.
Listen, I wouldn't be mad. I wouldn't be mad at that. I
Wouldn't
think
be
that they
mad
should.
at
I
him
think
in
that they
Vegas.
should. Right now, if I'm Baltimore, like I said, I think Ravens should try to make a push for Kadarius Toney, while the Giants still think that he is potentially a bust. Because you give him one more season and he turns it around, and now the Giants don't want to let him go. You know what I'm saying? So you might as well make a move for him now while they're indifferent about him.
Right.
Because I don't
Yeah.
know who else is out there. And like I said, I think that that's the best. That's a good fit for Lamar because both of them are shifty. They can keep up with each other.
Mm.
Lamar cuts left. Kadarius can cut left on a dime and be right there with him. You cutting right? I'll follow you there too. Where do you need me to be?
Right.
You feel me? He's literally the kind of wide receiver that can watch him in the backfield and be cutting with him. Like, okay, let me make sure he's going. Okay, he's going right here. Here's my cut. You feel what I'm saying? I think that's the
Right.
perfect receiver to have like that because he's not a deep yard wide receiver anyway. He's somebody that's going to float right around that 5 to 7 yard mark, and then you might hit him long one time. But he's not going to be no deep. He's not going to run deep routes 85% of the time on the field. But yeah, I wanted to ask you a question. So out of Baltimore Ravens and the Atlanta Falcons, who you think has had the better running backs historically?
The Ravens, because you got Jamal Lewis, Ray Rice,
I
that
agree.
was Dobbins or J.K. Whatever his
Well,
name
J.K.
was.
hasn't had a full season yet, but I do think that he is a dog. He's
Potential.
supposed to be coming back too, though. But I agree with that. So tell me why Lamar Jackson is number 3 all-time rushers for the Ravens, but Michael Vick is 7th with the Falcons. Now that's putting it in perspective. The best running quarterback of all time was only 7th on a team that didn't have the better talent. So that lets you know how much the Ravens are running that man.
Right.
And that's over Vic's career with the Falcons, right? And I know he had that unfortunate incident and left and came back to the Eagles. But regardless, that's Vic's career to the Falcons. You made it to 7. When you only really had to worry about who? Work done, Freeman. I'm trying to think of who else the Ravens had or the Falcons had at running back. Doesn't matter.
Work done.
That's why I said work done, Freeman. Yeah, the names just don't come to me like that.
Yeah, work done. Freeman. Remember they got Melvin Gordon. He didn't pan out.
I'm not. Yeah, counting that.
Yeah. So yeah. Cordell Patterson's all right.
Patterson, yeah, but
He's
he's
okay.
not. He's still. I still consider him a wide receiver.
Yeah, remember the light skinned running back that played for them when Work done played. What was his? Oh, bug me. What was his name? He was a big light skinned running back. I have to look it up. It's gonna bug me. For the Falcons, he played for them
When
back. He was
who?
good though.
When who played?
This light skinned running back for the Falcons
Right, but
back
you
in the
said
day,
that played when who played?
like Warwick Dunn. They were like 1 and 2 together. That's gonna bug me.
Lewis,
What was his
Jamal Lewis.
name? No, that's for the Ravens. I'm talking about the Falcons.
Yeah, I did say that. Yeah, I did say he was.
That's gonna bug me. But anyways, T.J. Duckett,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
he was all right. But yeah, they don't have
He wasn't really
Ravens.
light
Yeah,
skinned.
T.J. Duckett.
Yeah, he wasn't really light skinned. Like, not like.
Man, you better look up T.J. Duckett. T.J. Duckett's about your color. But hell, you be calling yourself light
I'm not
skinned.
light skinned. I'm brown
Man,
skinned, G. You light
man,
skinned.
I got to go back to that one podcast, one episode.
You light skinned. I'm brown skinned. Yeah, he brown skinned. He ain't no light skinned running back.
Well, anyways, yeah, him. They
Um,
haven't they haven't had nobody outside of that like that. But
but regardless, that's what I'm saying. Regardless, that's why it doesn't make sense that Jamal Lamar Jackson is third all time rusher with the Baltimore Ravens. That makes no sense. We'll see how long that lasts. Hopefully he gets out of there before he suffers an injury fucking around with them.
hell yeah, yeah, it's not a good place right now. It sounds like.
I would like to bring up the fact that Green Bay Packers are tripping.
Why you say that?
They're currently pursuing a trade with the Las Vegas Raiders for Darren Waller.
I heard about that, and I heard that I seen the article that said that got laid to rest. And I guess it's not true.
Yeah, yeah, no. I mean, it's definitely true. They are looking for it. They are looking to get him. Well, they were
Well,
looking to get him. Raiders just ain't giving him up.
right, that's what I had seen. The Raiders aren't like it; they're not even considering that as an option.
Why would they? Why would they? Green Bay would just trade away the best wide receiver in the NFL in Devontae Adams, and in return, completely separate from the trade itself, expected the Raiders would then give away, when healthy, one of the best tight ends in the NFL.
Right,
Why would that make sense ever?
right. It wouldn't. I mean, it wouldn't.
Why would Green Bay even think that that would be an option? That's what's tripping me out. Like, what? Why? It just makes no sense for them to. Because even after the Raiders said that they don't plan on trading him, I heard that they were still sending over offers. Like, what? That
Yeah, I mean, I'm
that
sure they're
deal wasn't
pursuing
sweet
him,
enough
but
for you. Let me throw in this when I. Like, nah, nigga, we good. We good over here. That's what we're
right,
good.
right. And you got all a couple pickups in Vegas. Yeah, they ain't trying to
Yeah,
leave.
especially in a era where we just talked about it, where tight ends are becoming more and more important to the game. It would make sense for us to give him up like that.
Right. No, not at all. Yeah, he's definitely a threat on y'all's team.
Yeah, I just don't get it. I don't get it. But fuck all the nonsense. Let's get into the picks for the teams. I only got 3 for the Eagles so far. I haven't checked to see what else y'all have gotten in the meantime. But how are you feeling about your picks?
Um, well, it's a good question. Let me take a look here. I want to see what the latest is. So,
You got Jordan Davis, defensive tackle out of Georgia. You got Cameron Jurgens, center out of Nebraska, and then you got Nakobe Dean, linebacker out of Georgia. That's all I saw before we started up. But what I will say while you're looking that up is I think it's good that they got 2 familiar defensive players. You got your D tackle and your linebacker both out of the same college.
Georgia. Yeah, two Bulldogs.
And you know that regardless that's not a quarterback wide receiver chemistry, but the chemistry would still be there.
Right. Communication.
Right, I'm your linebacker, so I'm the guy that's running up to your line and tapping you on your hip and saying, "Hey, move down one, guard that hole. I'm coming in hot right next to you."
Right.
I think that was a smart pickup to go with two very good defensive players out of the same school. I think that was a smart grab on Philly's behalf.
So I like the Jordan Davis pick. I like all the picks, those three that you named. Now, I see that in the 6th round, we got 2 picks, a linebacker, Kyron Johnson. I don't see where he's from college-wise. And a tight end.
Name.
Kyron, I can Google it. And a tight end, Grant Calcaterra. So we got.
Where is that? Where's your tight end? Who's that? Where is he out of?
That's on I'm about to look up. But so to answer your question, I like the picks overall.
Karen Johnson, I know that name. He plays for
Kyron Johnson. So he played for Kansas.
Kansas, okay.
He was a linebacker there, obviously.
Okay.
We didn't do anything with the secondary, Cliff, so I'm kind of disappointed that we haven't seemed to do anything with the secondary. We still need a lot of help in the secondary, but I'm glad to see that we're trying to build some other parts of the core at least, but we do need some help in the secondary still.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I do agree with, like I said, I think that the core, having a good, strong core is a good thing. I don't think that Darius Slay's enough to be leading your secondary. I do think you need some additional pieces there. I don't know where else you're going to get them if not the draft. I mean, but there's some in free agency right now, right? Isn't it?
Type cornerbacks,
safeties.
Stephen Gilmore. Yeah, let me see.
I was about to say Stephen Gilmore's still out there. Nobody picked him up, so that's a corner at least. I'm trying to think of safeties that are out there. Oh, nobody got your boy yet.
Who?
Tyrann Mathieu.
Yeah, I don't know what that's about.
Yeah, nobody got him yet either. Maybe they do have their eye on the free agency.
And that's what I'm hoping because, to your point, like I said, we still need help. I don't know what our salary cap's looking like, but we need help. I see
I doubt y'all close to it.
I see that Jadeveon Clowney's still out there, Cliff. Odell Beckham, Tyrann Mathieu. Yeah, there's still people out there.
Who? I don't think y'all need Jadeveon Clowney. I don't think that's.
I don't even want him. So.
I don't think that's interest for y'all.
Kyle Fuller. This is, or is it? Are they trying to say this is going to be at the end of the? Yeah, should be the current. See, I don't see Stephon Gilmore on here. But I know no one signed.
Yeah, I haven't heard. I would have heard that.
Anyways, there's still a couple free agents out there for sure, which I'm kind of disappointed that we're not looking at. the Matthews and the Gilmores and stuff. But at the same time, I always go back to that one nightmare of a year when we had Roger Marty. Who was the other one? From the Raiders. Awesome. Sorry. Awesome.
Namdi Asamoah.
Yeah, and it was just that was a shit show. You know what I mean? That was a shit show.
Y'all Philly. Y'all close to New York.
Man, stop playing with us. Look. We recently former Super Bowl champions.
I'm just playing. I'm only picking on New York because Cali ain't been on the show.
Right.
And
you know what?
New York need picked on, to be honest. Y'all need to step it up. But I know the fans feel the same way. Like, what the fuck? Motherfuckers talking about Zach Wilson coming back to camp with a new swag about him. Fuck that new swag. That. Is that going to stop him from throwing interceptions every game?
I seen that article with new swag. I like the way
give a fuck about that. Y'all just talking shit.
Nah, that don't mean nothing to me. I want to see, like you said, how does he play and what's those wins?
Period. But on the Raiders end, just to run down they picks.
Let's hear it.
They got Dylan Parham, offensive line out of Memphis. They got Zamir White, running back from Georgia, with the 122nd. Dylan Parham was the 90th. 126, we got Neil Farrell Jr., defensive tackle out of LSU. I like that pick. And then 175th, we got Matthew Butler, defensive tackle out of Tennessee. I also like that pick. That was another one that they said he slid too. They were saying that they wouldn't have been shocked if he'd have went in the 3rd round, and they picked him in the 5th. So we definitely needed to stack up that defensive tackle spot. But I'm with you in regard to, I feel like we need to bulk up our core, right? Like, we don't have a linebacker back there to respect.
Right. Yeah, you need somebody. I'm looking at your guys'.
I just don't get it. Like, for some reason, Raiders just do not look at linebackers. And then they didn't get a linebacker last year, but what they did was they moved cornerback from Northwestern, Divine Diablo. They moved him from, safety out of Northwestern. They moved him from safety to linebacker. Like I said, because we're sacrificing strength for speed, or power for finesse. So now let's move all the strong safeties to linebackers, and then we'll move the free safeties over to strong safety and get another free safety is what's going on.
Right. Did you see that y'all got a Ohio State boy in Las Vegas?
Who?
Thayer Munford, offensive lineman, Ohio State. 7th round overall, 238.
I'm sick of fucking O-linemen, man.
I mean, he has experience playing tackle and guard, it says.
I mean, you need that, but I'm just sick of O-linemen. Like, Carr wasn't rushed last year. They weren't rushing him. They were getting to him, but, like, let's be honest, you had enough time.
That division spruced up a lot, though, so I'd rather be safe than sorry. You know what I mean? Shit. That's probably what it is. They're just trying to keep that core strong, you know?
Then who's y'all's backup quarterback?
In Philly?
No.
Oh, Vegas?
Yeah. Like, who is that? Because you gave away Mariota.
Right.
And we know what you said, Colin Kaepernick?
You want to talk about that situation with Mark Davis?
Mark Davis saying he would be interested in Colin Kaepernick. But we're not here for the brownie points, motherfucker. Either get him or shut the fuck up.
Right.
Why are you announcing it? Do it.
Right.
If you meant it, do it. You don't have a backup. At this point, anybody would be good. And let's be honest, a Colin Kaepernick doesn't get anything above the vet minimum.
He doesn't, right. So you might as well sign him to something.
You know, enjoy your 1.8.
Right. Let me see. Raiders quarterbacks. Yeah, I want to know who they're going to have for backup.
I think it's
Y'all used to have
Peterman. I think it's Peterman and Carr currently.
Nick Mullins and Garrett Gilbert.
Ooh, I don't know either of them. I don't know either of them.
Last time y'all won a ring was 1984.
Mm, mm, mm.
So damn, you wasn't even thought of yet, Cliff. Damn, I hope you know what. I hope you do get to see your team win one day before before we leave this place called Earth.
You a fucking
At least
fool.
once.
I know I got a better
Oh,
draft than you, so I'm not worried.
well, we won one a couple of years. I told you ours was
Y'all got it. Y'all got a fluke.
ago.
But that's
But
y'all's only one, ain't it?
our only shut up, Alexis. Our only she laughed when you said that shit. Our only like
Yeah,
one in
that's
the
y'all's only
NFL.
one. Yeah, that's y'all's only one.
I don't know why she laughing. She don't want me to get on her damn Seahawks.
How many
on here.
Eagles have come and gone, not seeing the Super Bowl victory?
How many Raiders have come and gone in the jail system?
Has nothing to do with that. That don't have nothing to do with winning. I'm outdated.
You would win if they'd win more if they wasn't in jail, having to replace their players all the time.
That don't mean we get Super Bowls.
That's true. Y'all like the longest yard team. Y'all the team off the longest yard.
Mm-hmm. And what the Eagles?
The team off of Not the Longest Yard, off the movie Rudy.
Yeah, that sounds about right. No, it wasn't based off of no fucking Eagles. It was based off of Notre Dame. You're thinking of fucking Invincible with Mark Wahlberg.
I knew you'd get there, Cliff. See, I knew you was a smart man. I knew you'd correct me on that one. I wanted to see you paying attention.
Shit, you just talk.
And I gotta see who's listening.
Movies. You talking about the famous kick returner?
Yeah, I never did see that movie. I ain't gonna lie.
He was a kick, not returner. He was on the kick team. Vince Papale.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But so how do you feel about your draft picks then, with that being said? I told you about the lineman from Ohio State at the end, but how you feel?
I mean, my only concern is core. Like I said, I wouldn't have minded getting another strong safety. I know it wouldn't have made sense to, because everybody says John Abrams, but how often is he in? He's hurt every year. Every fucking year he's hurt.
I actually have some news about your Raiders too from yesterday, April 29th. What? So Raiders, according to NFL.com, Raiders declined fifth-year options for Clelin Ferrell, Josh Jacobs, and Jonathan Abram. So they're not wanting to pick up those fifth-year options on those three guys.
I would think about a fifth year on Jacobs, but that would be it. Because without Jacobs, who do you have? Are you assuming that this is a mere white dude from Georgia is going to be good enough to take his spot?
Right.
In the fourth round, pick 122. Not saying that like that's an awful thing, because let's be honest, running backs usually go later in the draft, but
they do for the most part.
But Josh Jacobs is also an Alabama boy. They breed running backs. So
they do.
For you to turn down him for an unproven Georgia boy, and I liked him in Georgia, but he's unproven nonetheless, that's dangerous. I mean, well, I guess he has 1 year to prove himself. Josh Jacobs, that is. This is his last year to prove himself.
Yeah, otherwise it looks like they're wanting to let him hit the free agency.
And you don't know what's coming out next year. And it's always a running back coming out. Running backs are always coming out. So even if we lose out on Josh Jacobs and he turns out to be a gem, I'm not as upset at that, because there's one of him that comes out every year.
Right.
So
there is.
I don't know that it ends up being that big of a deal, is all I'm getting at. And
it may not.
He needs to prove himself. Like, he had a good first season, second season drop off, third season slight improvement from the drop off, but still wasn't up to par. If you don't have a up to par fourth season, I wouldn't be interested in picking you up for a fifth either.
Yeah, no, Good point. He hasn't been producing consistently like
Right.
y'all may have hoped.
So yeah, I mean, I appreciate the defensive tackle selections. I probably would have replaced that running back selection with the like a linebacker, strong safety situation. But with them not picking up Josh Jacobs to a fifth year, it makes sense that you do cover your ass just in case.
Right.
So I'm not
CYA.
upset at it. I mean, I would say considerably lower of a grade than last year, but still not the worst Raiders draft. Raiders are known for fucking the draft up.
Right.
Raiders are known for fucking the draft up. In the
They are.
past 2 years, I wouldn't call them fuck ups. Last year, I think we were B. Matter of fact, I think I wrote it down. Yep, 11th in the NFL on draft grade last year. With a B plus. And our notable selection was Alex Leatherwood, offensive tackle out of Alabama. And then y'all were ninth overall, ninth with a B plus. Y'all's notable was Devontae Smith. Brits Browns were the 8th in the draft with a B plus, and cornerback Greg Newsome the 2nd was I think out of Auburn, if I'm not mistaken, was the notable. Rashad Bateman was the Ravens. They were 17th. Then the Jets were 21st, and we all know Zach Wilson was their honorable or their most notable pick. They were a C plus. Ravens were a B. Everybody else was B pluses. Eagles, Raiders, and Browns. So yeah, I would probably, based on last year's draft, if I was grading it, I would probably give the Raiders a B minus. But I wouldn't but I wouldn't say it's a awful draft by any means. I would say it's a B minus with potential of being a B.
I can see that. I mean, I think I would give my Eagles the same grade. I'd give my Eagles a B minus in this year's draft.
But see, y'all can't afford that, right? We could afford that. Y'all can't really afford that.
Why not? We're in the NFC least.
You are correct. You are correct about that, but at the same time, y'all made the playoffs last year.
By luck.
I don't know that I would call it luck. I don't know that I would call it luck.
That was by luck.
So what you're saying is that you don't think they have the potential of doing that this year as well? In the NFC least?
That was luck because our division is so bad that we
So you don't think you have the chance of doing that again this year?
Do I think so?
Yeah.
Oh yes. As long as you got
luck if they have the potential of doing it twice back to back.
Because the division sucks as a whole.
So that doesn't mean that it's luck. That just means that you're in a weak division. So what I'm getting at is, if you're in a weak division, why would you not take advantage of that? You feel what I'm saying? How can I afford to get a B minus draft grade when I had so many picks and we're in this weak ass division?
Well, they traded it away. So I'm glad you said
that. I did see they traded a couple away.
So you probably can imagine my face when they announced that we acquired AJ Brown in the draft due to a trade.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very excited about that as a side note. But in that, Cliff, so when we traded up for your boy Davis, the defensive tackle, and when we traded for AJ Brown, I think something else too, we gave away picks to do those things in the draft. We gave away picks, gave away spots.
Right.
So there's more spots that we could have technically got or used to try to build, to your point. But I think that they felt like for right now, this was the best decision to help build what we need. But I still agree that there's a lot more we need to do. I don't think we're done yet. Put it that way. We're not done.
I mean, you ain't
If
got
they
much
think we're
time.
done, if they think we're done, Cliff, they're sadly mistaken.
Well, y'all don't got much time left, so we gonna have to see. Would you have would would you have rather had AJ Brown or Debo Samuels?
You know, it's funny you say that because I like Debo Samuel. I do, but I don't know. I think AJ Brown's going to be a better fit. I feel like Debo Samuel kind of has a lot of that prima donna attitude. Not saying AJ Brown might not have any, but I feel like we kind of like. Did you see that video of Debo Samuel in the club
No.
recently? Somebody, so he was in the club somewhere, and somebody had up like Debo comes back to the 49ers or something, and they put the camera on him, and he's just like, nah,
Well, that don't
like
got nothing to do with prima donna. If I'm done with this squad, I'm done with the squad. That's like
I
somebody
get
saying,
that, but I'm old school. I'm not gonna make my stuff vocal out loud and on the camera and on videos. I'm gonna talk
he
it over
already
behind the scenes,
did. He already did. He had already told them I won out. So if it's
and that's
already
why.
public and somebody says, hey Cliff, you want to come back to Discover? Fuck no. Fuck
Right,
no. No, I don't. It's not going to happen. It don't got nothing to do with me being a prima donna. I'm just saying I've already decided that is not a place for me.
right. I'm happy with AJ Brown. I think Debo would have been a good addition as well, but I feel like AJ Brown's probably going to be the better fit for our system.
I agree with that as well. I did think that initially I thought that Debo Brown would have been a good pick just because that gives you an extra wide receiver as well as it takes some of the load off of Miles Sanders. But I also think that Jalen Hurts is mobile enough as well as make shit happen enough on the fly that you don't need a Debo in your backfield.
Yeah, Jalen Hurts is special. I mean, I think if him and AJ Brown,
He is.
Devontae Smith build some chemistry, I think that can be explosive.
I mean, that immediately puts Devontae Smith at your 2 as he should be.
I agree. He shouldn't be the one.
He shouldn't. He's not yet.
Ready.
He's not. He's not built for it. He's just not
developed enough yet.
Right. Right. I think he should be a second receiver.
He ain't no Jamar Chase, no diss.
Now shit, if y'all was really about that life and y'all got Debo Samuels too, I wouldn't mind moving him to the 3rd.
Well, of course, but at that point you're fighting over catches, and once again with these young guys.
Well, see, it ain't about fighting over catches, right? Because Debo's gonna get his regardless, whether you're lined up at the running back position or the wide receiver position. So even if we have Devontae Smith lined up at the slot, he can be our targeted receiver because Debo's gonna eat. He's gonna eat regardless. And AJ Brown is more for the deep ball anyway, while Devontae Smith is the scat back.
Right.
I don't want to say scat back because you're not a running back, but that's essentially the role you're playing. The bubble screen, the quick slant, the delayed route, shit like that.
Right. I mean, speaking of Debo, I don't know where he's going to end up at. I don't know where he wants to go.
Vegas.
Or who wants him.
Vegas. I think Vegas would be the perfect fit.
Him and Devontae?
Why not? Debo's not on that level.
On Devontae?
Correct. There's only one wide receiver in the league that's on his level, and that's Cooper Kupp.
What about Jamar Chase?
Not yet. He's developing to be there, but let's be honest, Devontae Adams? That's what I'm saying. I get so sick of people not giving him his props, right? Because he's been the only guy for so long and has still shitted on people. Like, you've literally seen highlights of them putting 3 people in front of him and him having to get off the line to get his route, and he still does. Now, that's the only reason why I constantly say the best wide receiver in the NFL, because Cooper Kupp's not doing that. Cooper Kupp is not doing what Cooper Kupp does if Cooper Kupp's the only option and there's 3 DBs on you off the line.
I agree.
It's not happening. Now, when you have somebody that it does, like with Devontae, and he's still eating, that gets scary. That's scary. It's like, well, what happens if you have 2 threats at receiver? Then you can't put 3 on Devontae. You have no choice but to split it up, and Devontae's going to eat, and whoever else is on that other side is going to eat. Right now, it would be, for us, Bryan Edwards, which I love Bryan Edwards. But I would much rather a Debo in there at that spot than Bryan Edwards. And then Hunter Renfro's at the 3. Bryan Edwards comes in on the 4-man spot. In those formations, of course.
Right.
I would love to have Debo at the Raiders. And you worried about your running back position too? Put a Debo back there with Josh Jacobs. I bet Josh will run a little bit harder, a little bit faster. You mean to tell me a wide receiver might be taking my spot? Nah, I gotta get this.
Right. Yeah, that's too much. Man.
But other than that, I don't got much else on the football. You got anything you want to toss out here before we get into fight night?
Yeah, I'll throw out a couple little things. April 26th, NFL.com, it says running back Melvin Gordon re-signed with the Broncos for 1 year, up to $5 million.
Figured as much.
I mean, I feel like he's washed up though. But hey,
he's washed. I don't think he's washed.
I think he's out of his prime.
Possibly, but I also feel like he hadn't played enough. Like, he's another one that was injury in and out, so I feel like that kind of saved you from getting banged up more. So you may still have a good 2-3 years in you.
Right.
It's not like you was running hard for 2-3 years with any team you played for.
Right. That's true. That's true. And then I also seen that Cardinals picked up the 5th-year option on quarterback Kyler Murray.
Yeah, we talked about that though.
Okay.
It's probably gonna be his last year regardless. Yeah, the Cardinals can pick up the option, but that don't mean Kyler on it.
Right.
Kyler can be like, fuck that, I ain't playing.
Right. So we'll see how that drama plays out. And then the Rams acquired cornerback Troy Hill from the Browns in a trade. We touched on it earlier. Marquise Brown went to the Cardinals for a first-round draft pick, and he also confirmed that he did request a trade.
Yeah, I saw that.
He said it was just something I had to think about for myself.
I saw that.
So other than that, that's all the NFL updates I got.
What you on NFL.com?
No, I was earlier. That's where I got some articles from.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah. But no, that's all the NFL updates I got. We can switch to fight now. I'm gonna switch to my phone because I don't want to miss this appointment.
What appointment? Oh, okay.
One of my people said he's going to be out the way here in a little while, so I don't want to miss my appointment. So I'm going to switch to my phone.
I understand.
Yeah.
I'm
listening. Let me go ahead. Yeah, go ahead and start this up. I'm about to transition over.
Yep. I mean, it's fight night, ladies and gentlemen.
Fight night.
We got a unification fight and an undisputed fight all in the same night. We got Shakur Stevenson, WBO champ. Currently 17-0 with 9 KOs. Against Oscar Valdez, who is the WBC champ, 30-0, 23 KOs. And they are adding in the Ring Magazine belt. Since Manny Pacquiao has retired, the Ring Magazine belt is now up for grabs. So the winner of this fight will be a 3-belt champion. And I think it's good to note that we had the exact same, well, not the exact same conversation, but we talked about the exact same fight last year after Oscar Valdez knocked out Miguel Berchelt, or Berchelt, whatever his name is. Um, we know Shakur Stevenson had been chasing him ever since 126 or one. It was the weight class before this. He had been calling him out for about 2 years now. Finally got the fight. He's a young man, as you can see from the record, 17-0, 9 KOs. He's only 23 years of age. I think that this ends up being a 12-round fight. You see Shakur Stevenson get the win by unanimous decision. But what I will say is, if I'm evaluating what I think the fight will be, I think it's going to be very similar to the Floyd Mayweather Canelo Alvarez fight. I think you see a very skilled Mexican fighter in there that has a hard time hitting a slick fighter in Shakur Stevenson. I think that you see Oscar Valdez overcommit on a lot of shots, setting him up. I see a lot of uppercuts, hooks that he gets caught with. We know he broke his jaw in I can't remember what fight that was. I wouldn't be surprised if it doesn't happen again. Because Shakur is going to put them shots on the money. I think Valdez is going to have to walk through hell to get this victory. I think it's very possible for him to get it, but he's going to have to walk through fire in order to do so, and I don't think that really happens. I think, like I said, you see this ends up being a Floyd Mayweather Canelo Alvarez too.
This ain't going to be no walk in the park is what you're saying.
Well, it's not going to be no walk in the park for Oscar Valdez. For Shakur Stevenson, as long as he boxes, I don't see him getting touched too much. I see him walking out of the fight very same facial conditions as him walking into it. I don't see him getting touched up at all, is what I'm getting at.
Right.
Other than that, we have undisputed pound for pound number one fighter Katie Taylor, 20-0, 6 KOs against pound for pound number two fighter Amanda Serrano, 42-1 and 1, 42 wins, 1 loss, 1 draw, 30 KOs. She's a 7 division champion. She is the only. There's only 2 fighters with that many wins, championships in weight divisions, and that's her and Manny Pacquiao. So you got to give her P's regardless. This fight, though, I'm giving it to Amanda Serrano. I think she gets a 10th round TKO. I put KO here. I think it ends up being a TKO. I don't think it ends up being a KO. But I noticed a few things about both of the fighters. Katie Taylor is not the best guarding her body. She more focuses on covering up her head with a very high guard. And Amanda Serrano is a great body puncher. That's going to be a problem for her. But Amanda Serrano, she doesn't keep her hands in a good spot defensively. Her hands are usually low when she fights, and that could cost her as well. I could see her getting knocked out with a lucky shot based off of her hand placement, fighting somebody as skilled as Katie Taylor. But ultimately, I'm going to go with Amanda Serrano, 10th round TKO. Let me fill that in because it does say KO. I'm going with the TKO. It just doesn't make sense. Jake Paul is a co-promoter in the Amanda Serrano Katie Taylor fight. That's between Eddie Hearn and Jake Paul are in promotion on that one. That one you can find on DAZN. I believe that starts at 9. And then the Shakur Stevenson Oscar Valdez is on ESPN pay-per-view. I don't think ESPN Plus will get you this fight. I think you have to pay the additional for the pay-per-view. But out of the two, if a motherfucker only could afford to buy one, I think people would be dumb not to buy the Shakur Stevenson Oscar Valdez fight.
That's the fight I want to see for sure.
Yeah, that's the one. I'm trying to depending on what happens in this fight tonight, because I am going to be out this evening and I do plan on watching it. Depending on what happens in the fight, I may hop back on tomorrow.
You said you may what?
I said depending on what happens in this fight, I may hop back on tomorrow and cover the fights.
Okay.
On Sunday.
Right.
But those are the only two real fights tonight. Of course, there's some undercards. Nothing really worth getting into, in my opinion. Those are the fights of the night. I think the Shakur Stevenson Oscar Valdez fight, although it will be good, I was about to jump out the window and say that could be one of the best fights of the year. But it has the potential of being. I don't see it actually being that. Just because I think this is going to be a lot more one-sided than people think. I think Oscar Valdez is a hell of a fighter. But Shakur Stevenson is a master. I don't know anybody else in recent boxing that's a master of distance and timing like he is.
He's just in his own league.
Yeah, he said it in his All Access leading up to the fight. He said, if you look at Mayweather and you look at me at the age of 23, I just feel like I'm even ahead of him. And I do have an argument to that. I don't think that he's correct in saying that, because the difference between him and Mayweather at the age of 23 is Mayweather was a knockout artist. Mayweather was slick and he'll knock you out. Shakur Stevenson is 17-0 with 9 KOs. Like, you're just above 50%. Mayweather was killing shit back in that time frame. You wasn't fucking with Mayweather like that back in that time frame. Now, as far as skill, as the sweet science, I don't know. He may be right. He may be right when it comes to that. But if we're talking all around, Mayweather was the better fighter at 23, in my opinion, because he had power. He didn't lose his power until he started breaking his hands. So, before we wrap it up, I do want to point out I am an extreme fan of Oscar Valdez as well. More of a fan of Shakur, but I am a fan of Oscar Valdez ever since I seen him fight that. I think he broke his jaw in like the 6th round and fought the whole fight to win with a broken jaw. I said, that nigga's nothing to be fucked with.
Damn.
He's nothing to be fucked with.
That's impressive.
And that's another reason why I see it being a unanimous decision by Shakur Stevenson. A man that fights more than half a fight with a broken jaw isn't going to lay down.
Nah, not at all.
You better hit him on the button. You better put him out. That's the only way that goes well for you. Other than that, it's going to be a decision.
Right. Choose wisely.
Listen, I do think it's going to be a war, but I don't think Shakur gets touched too much. That's just what my body's saying. Floyd Mayweather, Canelo Alvarez is what that's going to equal to. But we will see.
Mhm.
I may be wrong, and if I am, I take my lumps.
Right.
But other than that, I don't really have too much. Other than the fact that I am kind of upset. I guess not. I guess not.
What?
I was about to say I am kind of upset that Katie Taylor, Amanda Serrano, they pound for pound 1 and 2, and you got Clarissa Shields out here, who's a 2-time Olympic gold medalist, running through everybody, and she ain't up there with them.
Yeah, that is weak though. Cause I seen her fight. I seen her fight one night. Clarissa Shields. She's tough.
She been calling Katie Taylor out, but my whole thing is I don't think Katie Taylor's going to win it, and I mean, Amanda Serrano, Clarissa Shields would be a good fight. I'm not going to lie.
Right.
I'm not going to lie about that. I think I would like that fight more than the Katie Taylor fight, but I don't know if that happens as easily. I don't know if that happens as easily. I kind of think Katie Taylor would be more willing to step in the ring with Clarissa than Amanda would. And that's just because Amanda's moved up so many times over so many divisions, and Clarissa Shields is a little heavier out the gate.
I can see that.
But I don't know. She ain't 42-1-1 with 30 KOs for nothing.
Right. At the same time.
You usually don't see a woman's record like that.
Oh, that's impressive.
So yeah. That's the only thing I will say. I guess from a standpoint of her moving up as many divisions as she did, she would have to be either 1 or 2. My whole thing is Katie Taylor being 1 gives me kind of Lomachenko vibes. Like, yeah, you are good enough to be it, but let's be honest, they just want you to be number 1.
Right.
That's the vibe I get from that.
Yeah, you're just their person. You're
right.
You're the face that they choose, that they select.
Right. But yeah, I don't have much else. So we can get with the hit the showers, and then we'll wrap it up. We at hour 35, so.
Okay. Hit the showers. Oh man, Cliff, that's tough. Woo! Has anything happened past 24 to 48 hours or so? I'm trying to think. Is anything going down?
Yeah, I'm kind of wondering about my hit-ems too as well.
Oh,
I know who my hit-em is.
You know yours?
Yeah.
What's yours?
My hit the showers is going to Baker Mayfield's wife.
Why? Okay, so explain.
Baker Mayfield did enough to fuck his own situation up with the Cleveland Browns, and apparently the NFL, since nobody else is looking at him. I just feel like your wife should know when to shut the fuck up.
Oh, yeah.
This isn't your contract. You don't have to show up to practice. You don't have to get hit by these meatheads every day.
You spend the money. You don't earn the money.
Right. So shut the fuck up when it's a team situation. We don't need you tweeting the team about how you feel like they've been doing your husband wrong.
So does the same apply for Westbrook's wife?
Who?
Russell Westbrook's wife. She's done the same things in the past too. I think her name is Nia.
No, and it does sound biased, right? But I'm gonna say no because her husband's getting that bag. Baker's not getting the bag.
Why ain't he got contracts and promotions and whatever you want to call them, deals?
You think
whatever.
Baker's getting a Russell Westbrook bag? We remember the video of Russell Westbrook answering the contract in bed with his wife in the highest paid quarterback in the league.
Well,
we remember that. When is Baker done that? When's Baker been close to the highest paid quarterback? When's he been worth being paid the highest paid quarterback? You feel what I'm saying? So my whole thing is regardless of what happens at home, the conversations that happen between you and your significant other shouldn't bleed into the team organization.
Right.
And beyond that, Sierra is Sierra. You feel me?
No.
Sierra was
I'm
a millionaire long before. You said what?
not Russell Wilson, fool.
Oh, Russell Westbrook.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's different too because you have people that have threatened their family's life.
I mean, before she was talking before that, like she was saying shit. Like before that, she was
Well,
saying
that's his fault. What they say
Right.
in the 40-year-old virgin, keep your bitch on the leash, G. What he say? He said, hey, keep your bitch on the leash.
Hey, she said, and now you got me started, Cliff, on the side. She said, Andy, you would have said, this is how you talk. Yeah, bitch.
Nah, I wouldn't.
He said something to her because she said, you need to find better friends. Remember, he said, I told you my friends be true.
Right. Nah,
But
yeah, nah, it's just not your place. It's not your place. Shut the fuck up.
I think I'm going to give my hit the showers. I think who dropped that really shouldn't have. I think was there anybody this year that really just shouldn't have dropped in the draft that dropped? I don't think there's anybody.
I would say Malik. Malik dropping to 84 was surprising to me. But once again, it goes back to the whole. I don't want to be the guy to just point it out, but it does. It goes back to a bit of racism. The same reason why we said Katie Taylor is pound for pound number one when you got an Amanda Serrano who's a 4-division champ, who's 42-1-1 with 30 KOs. Meanwhile, she's 20-0, 6 KOs, but she's the best in the world.
Right.
She's the best in the world. And you look at the same way with Kenny Pickett. They've been saying for years, black quarterbacks just aren't smart enough. They're not smart enough to be quarterbacks. So you look at a Kenny Pickett who goes 20 to the Steelers, and then you look at a Malik Willis who goes 86 to Tennessee. They were saying at one point he was the best quarterback in the draft.
Right, they were in that at one point.
So how the fuck he the best quarterback in the draft, but he goes behind Desmond Ridder?
Right.
That's wild to me.
So I think...
But I don't think that's necessarily his fault. You know, why you said you were looking for somebody that dropped in the draft. I don't think I would give it to Malik Willis just off the strength because it wasn't your fault. Just so happens you a black quarterback coming out of a place that doesn't really play good quarterback competition.
Right. Yeah, I think, like I said, I don't have anybody dead set in my head, but I guess I'll give the hit the showers to the Timberwolves. Because, like, I think, was it me, you, and Trey and Q were talking about it earlier off that? Like y'all said, Timberwolves really should have won that series.
They should have. There was no reason they shouldn't have.
They shit the bed. So I got to give it to the Timberwolves.
Well, the entire Timberwolves didn't shit the bed. Well, I would say Karl Anthony Towns. I wouldn't say shit the bed because he still was, getting his 14 to 17 rebounds. But you weren't scoring like you do. And we know that you're the leader of the team. Where the fuck are the points, Jack?
Right.
Fuck them rebounds. Where are the points at?
I don't know. I told you if him and old girl broke up or not. Alexis follows his little
Jenner.
Cat dates.
Not Jenner. The
Jordan
other one.
Wood, Kylie Jenner's former best friend. Made out with Tristan Thompson, all that shit. All them rich people problems that I'd rather have than these other problems. But anyways,
I don't know.
Kat, you didn't.
I don't know if I would rather have rich people problems than my problems. No, I got problems, but I don't know if I would want rich people problems. That's different.
They going to court over whatever. You hear the China side note, Black China Kardashian / Jenner trial? Did you hear about that trial going on too right now? And Black China's taking the Kardashians and Jenners to court for basically defamation of character type shit, and trying to say that they ruined her show, the Robin China show they had like a little bit. So I'm just saying that like some of the details that came out of that show are just hilarious, like that you've heard. And it's like y'all are just bored. Like you said, like I don't think I'd want these rich people problems. I don't think about it. Like this is some dumb shit.
It's petty shit. I'm not built for that. I don't operate that way.
Yeah, I don't want to do it. You're right. I don't want to do it. I'm good. I'll take the struggle and the problems I have.
I'll have to leave my money to my kids because these rich people problems is gonna wind me up in jail somewhere. Oh, because you thought you got the right one, huh? I'm about to show you that this shit don't mean shit to me.
Hey, look, that Will Smith slap ain't got shit.
Listen, you thought a slap? Listen, there won't be a camera around when you see me, I promise you.
And you know what? As much as I love Will Smith, I got to give you a hit the showers too, Will, because I guess he just went to India for after the slap, I guess you could say.
You don't get hit the showers for that. You don't never get hit the showers for attempting to better yourself.
No, I just feel like, Will, you know what the problem is. It's not going to India and clearing your mind. It's that fucking woman you married to. It's the shit you let her put you in.
You need to send that hoe to India on a one-way.
That's what I'm saying, Cliff. That's why I said, nigga, because, nigga, you got the world making you think it's you, that you're the problem, Will. Yeah, you did the action, but hit the showers, bro, because it's not you. It's you. It's the person you're with that's making you not act like you. That has to be what it is. I'm convinced. So that trip to India, Will, I ain't buying it. I love you, Will Smith, but I ain't buying it, bro. Hit the showers.
Take some what's it called? He trying to go on the what's it called journey? Ayahuasca.
Oh, probably.
He probably went to go see an ayahuasca shaman. I kind of want to do that one day.
Lexus talked about it, bro. I was scared, Cliff. You throw up and shit. Like they said, it's like an intense experience.
Yeah, I kind of want to do it though.
I'd have to be fucked up out of my mind to do that.
Nah, you can't be. It's not. That's not what it's for. You can't be fucked up going to cleanse yourself.
Well,
that's ignorant. Like that's how you get a bad trip, because you're fucked up. Like you're supposed to cleanse yourself.
Right. Well, some of the shit I heard, I just couldn't believe about the experience.
But that's what it sounded like to me when he said he was going to a trip in, India. That sounded like, oh, you going to a ayahuasca retreat type shit, trying to cleanse yourself of your demons.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Trying to sage your soul. Listen, we all need a good soul saging every now and again, but
ain't lying.
But yeah, I don't got shit else. You got anything to take us out?
Like, share, subscribe, troll, tell a friend. Back next Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern time, as always. And like you say, what? Be good or be good at it?
Be good or be good at it, showerheads. We'll catch y'all motherfuckers next time. We out this bitch.
Fly, Eagles, fly. Fuck the Raiders. They gonna choke.
Fuck them Eagles.
Ain't good.